Welcome to Convergence to Pixels, otherwise known as ConvergenceTP. ConvergenceTP is the market leader in bringing text from your IP appliances into your video surveillance system. Before we get into this video, I want to review quickly the video quality settings on your YouTube session. At the bottom of the screen, you should have the ability to change the video quality, and because this is a very text-intensive video, you'd best to watch it at 720p or HD format. This way the text will not be blurry. Alright, let's get into the video itself. Today's demonstration will be on our POS integration into the very powerful and feature-rich OnSSI Ocularis platform. The Ocularis platform is ideally suited for just this type of an integration. For POS in this demonstration, I'll be using POS, a very popular, easy-to-use restaurant tableside service application, which makes it ideally suited for this type of a demonstration. Okay, before we jump into the actual demonstration portion of this video, I've got a couple slides I'd like to cover quickly, which better explain where ConvergenceTP sits within the customer enterprise. On the left-hand side of the screen here, you'll see a number of IP appliances which ConvergenceTP supports. In the center is the ConvergenceTP patent-pending event streaming engine. This technology has the ability to take in multiple dissimilar IP packet protocols and create one homogeneous database, which is then presented to the VMS system. This video will cover point-of-sale transactions. This slide represents a typical POS application with cameras associated with the workstation, as well as some of the network infrastructure and the VMS system illustrated here. When the operator enters a transaction, a copy of that transaction is sent to the ConvergenceTP event streaming engine. The event streaming engine renders the IP packet text into an industry standard access compliant camera stream. Because the POS transaction is streamed to the VMS as a camera stream, it passes seamlessly through the VMS as a camera. You'll also notice that the cameras associated with the workstation are also visible, as well as the actual workstation itself. This next slide gives you some indication of what we stream to the VMS system, but let's get into the demonstration. Okay, at long last, here's my live demo of our POS integration. Before we get into that, let me quickly explain what we're looking at here. The screen is actually an OnSSI Ocularis client. On the client are 4 cameras being streamed. These are all ConvergenceTP cameras, and I use ConvergenceTP cameras for this because they're very good for doing demos. I could set the splash screen to be anything I want. Because these are software cameras, not physical cameras, I could make the splash screen a POS environment for these types of demonstrations. So that's what these 2 screens are on the left. The bottom right is the actual POS terminal being streamed to OnSSI in real time, and we'll get into that in a second. The top right is our information screen. Basically, whatever happens on the terminal, the text from that transaction will be streamed to the ConvergenceTP information screen here in the top right. That information will stay there for approximately 10 seconds. That's arbitrary. For my demonstration purposes, I like 10 seconds. You could set it to anything you want, or it could stay there until the next transaction pushes it out. That's completely configurable by the user. Alright, let me change mice here, and I'm going to go to my POS terminal. On the POS terminal, I'm going to enter my credentials, and I'm going to select a table. In this case, I'll select table 9. Number in my party, I will select 3. You'll notice as I was doing that, all that transaction information was being sent to the top right screen. It gives you all the information you need to know about every action that takes place on the workstation terminal. Okay, let me purchase some items here, and we'll see how it happens in real time. I just purchased some crab cakes. You'll see that in the bottom screen, that's the actual workstation. In the top is the actual transaction that was sent to the ConvergenceTP event streaming engine. I'll purchase some stuffed mushrooms. You'll see all the text is sent to the ConvergenceTP event streaming engine, and it is not only sent to the VMS system in real time to be stored on the recording server, we also keep a copy of that text, which I'll be demonstrating in the next portion of this video, where we could actually search on any piece of that text and bring up this video again of that particular purchase. So I'm going to add a few things here so we'll have something to search on when we get to the Hypermedia search tool next. So let me just buy one more thing. We'll buy some stuffies. Okay, now what I'd like to do is jump into our Hypermedia search tool and see where the real power of our system starts to kick in. Alright, in this portion of the video I'll be describing the ConvergenceTP Hypermedia search engine. There are three very powerful features within the ConvergenceTP product. The first is our ability to take text from an IP stream and convert it to a access compliant camera stream and send that live to the VMS system for immediate viewing. The second feature is our ability to be able to pass that information seamlessly through the VMS system as a camera stream for future viewing. And the third very powerful feature is our Hypermedia suite of tools for post-processing and attaching the text to the video as a result of some specific search criteria that the user may enter. Let me log in and we'll show you what's going on. Okay, I've just logged in. On the screen here you'll see the first thing you're prompted for is search type. There are a number of IP appliances ConvergenceTP supplies. I'm going to stay with point of sale. You have a number here you could select from. We're doing point of sale, so I'm going to leave that alone. Parameters, I'm not going to touch that right now. We will get to that in a moment. And I'm going to leave this search time and date to the default. Of course, you could set that to any time period you'd like. Spreadsheets we'll talk about in a minute. This is a very powerful new feature we've added to this release of the product. I'm going to hit list. What list does is put the most current transaction at the top of the list. So if you remember, the last thing we did was we purchased stuffies. So if I go over here to our browser screen and I open up that transaction, you'll see stuffies were purchased last, and this is coming from the recording server. This is recorded with any and all associated video of that event. So it's a very important differentiation between this screen and this screen. This screen is a live rendering of the database, from the database of that particular transaction. So when I click on that, this side is rendered live, this side is pulled from the recording server. Down here is the workstation view of that particular transaction, also recorded and synchronized with that transaction. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other options here. One of the things we can do, sometimes it makes it easier to see what's going on or look at more detail, is you could expand, and this shows you all the information that was in that transaction packet that ConvergenceTP received. So there are a number of things you can quickly review here, or you could look at them on the screen there. Sometimes it's easier to do a search on this side of the screen. And you can also do an expand all, so now all those transactions have been expanded. Again, it just makes it easier to quickly find things. Okay, now let's talk about adding search parameters. Search parameters are filters. Instead of showing every transaction in our database, we now could boil it down to a specific transaction. Let's say an item name, and we're looking for an item name, and I'm just going to type in ST, and that'll give me anything that has ST in it as far as the item name. Next thing I may want to do is enter a price. Let's say the price is greater than, and I think I have $9.94 already set here, and we happen to know that stuffies are $9.95, and I also know that stuffies are the most expensive thing on the menu, so that should be the only thing that shows up in our search. And we could even boil that down further, and we could pick any number of things. I'm going to go with the username, and we could select contain, so I don't have to type it all out. And I'm going to go with Don because I happen to know that this person was Donna, so Don would be contained within that name. And I'm going to ask for a list. Now I could certainly add many more criteria here to really boil down that particular transaction based on store number or whatever you want to do there, but for this demo I'm going to stick to those three. And let's now do a list. If I expand all on this list, it saves me from having to render them and look at that result, I could see Stuffies. The price is $9.95, and that's really all I should see is Stuffies. I happen to know that's the only thing over $9.95 on the menu here. So let's collapse that, and let's say we wanted to look for less than $9.95. Now that would be a sweetheart deal for Stuffies, but there may be things that have an ST in them less than $9.95. So let's ask for that list, and we'll do an expand all, and we could see that, well, it's stuffed mushrooms here, and they're $5.95, and no longer Stuffies are no longer listed. It's just stuffed mushrooms. So very powerful search filtering tool, and one of the things that complements that extremely well, and I think this demonstrates where the ConvergenceTP product really becomes much more than the sum of the two parts, the IP appliance and the VMS. We actually create a whole new product in loss prevention and analysis tools by starting to introduce our spreadsheet product. The spreadsheet is a new option for the hypermedia search tool. When you select spreadsheet, you get a list of default parameters that'll populate the spreadsheet for you, or you can change that, add, and delete as you wish. I'm going to go with the default. So with the default, we had two results from our search for items less than $9.95 that had an ST in them. And so this is the spreadsheet view live. Now, while you're in this view, you can, of course, still show cameras from the spreadsheet and be able to view the transactions that way, as you did with the list menu. Or you could download this particular spreadsheet and view it in your favorite spreadsheet tool. Let me pull that up quickly. As there's not much in this spreadsheet, I'm going to jump over to another spreadsheet that has a little more information imported from our hypermedia search engine. In this particular spreadsheet, you'll see we imported the number of events here are individuals on workstations being charted against no sale events. As you can see from the chart below, this makes it very easy to visualize what's going on. This slide is a much better example of how our new spreadsheet output option adds a very powerful loss prevention and analysis tool to our already feature-rich hypermedia search engine. ConvergenceTP continues to develop innovative new technologies that add considerable value to the inevitable convergence of IP appliance data into the video surveillance platform. That concludes my POS integration video. As you might expect, there's quite a bit more I could have covered, but given the YouTube time constraints, this is as much as I can get through in this amount of time. Please feel free to visit us at www.c2p.com and fill out the Contact Us form and request your own webinar for any specific POS needs you may have. Listed below are our technology partners for this demonstration. Please feel free to reach out to them directly, as I've listed their contact information here as well. Thanks.